let's talk about a prospect-centric pitch. Now, what do I mean by a prospect-centric pitch? Well, very simply, I'm talking about trying to talk about what you do, but without making it about you. Try to remember that actually the person that you're talking to doesn't really care how much you know until they know how much you care about them. So when you are talking about yourself, really it helps to put it in a way that actually makes sense to them, to look at it through the lens of their eyes. Now, this is not easy to do. I want you to do an exercise. I want you to think about how you could actually pitch your business and only use one personal pronoun. Only say I, we, me, our, or us once. Hard, isn't it? Really hard to think in that way. But it's a really good exercise to get you out of the mindset of talking about yourself and into the mindset of thinking about the prospect and thinking about things from their point of view. So there's an old saying which is, you never really know somebody until you've walked a mile in their shoes. This is really about that. It's about trying to put yourself into their world. What does that look like? Well, this is an approach that works on LinkedIn. It's an approach that works face-to-face. It works well on Zoom or any other video conferencing facility. It works really, really well on the telephone. This is when you've had an opportunity to say, get through the initial kind of getting to know you stuff and sounding different to everybody else, but then say, well, okay, would it make sense to kind of discuss a little bit about what it is that I do and maybe some of the reasons why our clients call us in. Now, if you phrased it like this, the clients that I work with, ... The clients that I work with, the I there is the only personal pronoun you're allowed, okay? So the clients that I work with, typically, they're facing a number of different frustrations. They're great businesses, you know, they're in growth, they have a growth mindset, but the turnover and profit just isn't where it needs to be. So what happens is they typically lift the lid on the bonnet of the car of their business and they root around in the engine a little bit and they find out that actually maybe their salespeople just aren't getting in front of enough people. They're just not talking to enough prospects, and that means that the forecasts they've got, they're just never going to be delivered. Or sometimes what happens is they find out that they are talking to enough business people and enough prospects, but actually for some reason those deals just aren't closing. You know, the sales cycle seems to get longer and longer and longer, and they hear the phrase, it's going to be next month, boss, probably more times than is really healthy. So again, the forecasts just don't get hit. Other times they do close deals, but actually, you know, they're having to give away massive discounts in order to do it, when you and I both know as business owners what kind of impact that has on the bottom line. Now, I don't suppose for a second any of that's happening in your world, is it? So you see how I structured that? I talked about 3 of the sorts of pains, the sorts of things that I solve for my clients. I talked about them in their terms and the way in which it's actually impacting on them. Missed forecasts, long sales cycles, big discounts which impact on their margin. So I sort of gave them something that was framed in their terminology and was relevant in their world. And at the very end of it, I gave them a statement that they could frankly disagree with if they wanted to, which is what we call in Sandler a negative reverse statement, which is very simply this: I don't suppose any of that sounds even vaguely relevant in your world. Because they're only going to be able to respond one of 2 ways to that, which is, well, yes, it is relevant, or no, it isn't relevant. And if they say, well, yes, it is relevant, you say, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. Sounds like there's a story to tell there. I'm interested. Tell me more about your business. I want to know what's going on. Alternatively, they could say, well, no, it's not relevant. In which case, you will then simply say something like that. Well, I did say up front, I've no idea whether or not there's any reason why we should be doing business. Tell me, if you could wave a magic wand and get rid of one problem with your sales or your growth, what would that problem be? And that is a really nice prospect-centric pitch of your business. So, exercise for you. I want you to do your own prospect-centric pitch of your business, but do it using only one personal pronoun, and the one you're allowed to use right up front is simply this: the clients that I work with typically ... I need you to fill in the ... Let me know how you get on. as a bit of an added benefit, a bit of an added bonus, why not connect to me or to my colleague Roy Johnson on LinkedIn? If you want to share your prospect-centric commercial with either of us, we'd be really happy to give you some feedback, maybe help you to refine it a little bit and polish it up, because doing this is hard. Doing this is really difficult when you do it for the first time. So, it's not something you're going to get right straight away. I certainly didn't. Probably still don't get it right all the time now, so really happy to help.